Hey, this is BJ. Thanks for listening to our show's podcast. If you're a fan of all things geeky, you should check out my other podcast, BJ Shea's Geek Nation. We have new episodes every day, and you can check it out at bjgeeknation.com.
Your home is going into foreclosure and you feel like a financial wreck. You don't know where to turn for accurate information. I'm bankruptcy attorney Travis Gagne. Let's talk about some legal options. If we work quickly, we can propose a plan to save your home, modify the loan, or in many cases even eliminate your second mortgage. The consultation is free. I've helped hundreds of people just like you make informed decisions about whether to save their home or exit it on a reasonable, organized timeline. The chapter you choose sets the tone for the next chapter of your life. Please contact me today at choosetherightchapter.com. That's choosetherightchapter.com.
99.9 KISW, The Rock of Seattle. I say we get your day started off the right way with, a woman with a great laugh. And also a great reason for a great laugh. And this, if you haven't seen it, it's this video is spreading online everywhere.
It's quite possibly the greatest video of all time, actually.
Is it really?
Have you seen it?
I have not seen it yet.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
Yeah.
Vicky, can you please pull it up for me?
Yeah.
Because my computer's taking forever, but it's the greatest video you will ever see, BJ.
All right. I'm very excited about this. When I heard about this video, I thought, all right, well, let's see if it lives up to its billing. But if you say it's the greatest ever.
Yeah. Find me a better video. Find me a better video.
I'm not getting in your way. Because here's the video. This woman's laughing her ass off. Why? Because there are two monkeys on her man's head, and the monkeys are totally doing it.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, man.
Monkey business.
That is fantastic.
Yeah.
Wow.
No. Why didn't you tell me?
Because she's too busy laughing, man.
That is too much, man.
That's a threesome, I think.
The first monkey gets on him, and then the other guy goes, here's my opportunity.
Yes.
I don't know where he thought, all right, this means sex. You go on top of a dude's head, you must want to have sex with me. And the other guy gets on and just starts going at it.
Huh, you want a picture, huh? Well, here's a good one for you.
Wow. Yeah, you've got to check this video out. The video is priceless. And Steve's right. I don't know if you're going to find a better one.
And they're doing it. I mean, can monkeys do it doggy style? Because apparently they can.
Those monkeys did.
All right. Well, crossing the breeds.
I think a lot of animals actually do it doggy style. Yeah, I think we humans decided, you know what? Let's go to the mission. Let's go to the mission. And why do we have to be like the dogs?
I mean, that's straight up. That should have been the music video for the Bloodhound Gang's Bad Touch song.
Oh man, yeah, dude. That monkey just gets up there and is like, "This is my opportunity." It's like he was like, "Wow, this is my opening."
He's like, sex tape time. She's filming.
It's amazing. So he's got I guess I'm assuming it's a female monkey that the guy has on his shoulders, and then the male monkey gets up there and says, well,
BJ, that's a personal question.
It's a party.
There's another one in the videos. Another guy had to deal with it as well.
Oh, that is so bizarre.
And that guy's just standing there.
I hope they use these for their Christmas cards.
Whoa.
Have you seen that?
That's amazing.
This one's even better. They're just staying on him.
That is unbelievable.
Oh, one fell off.
Yeah, she was done. She's like, I'm done.
Or maybe he was done.
Hadn't thought about that. Whoa.
You got to post this one. This is a good one. If you just look on YouTube, two monkeys hump while standing on a tourist's shoulders.
If you told me there was more than one monkey hump video on a tourist, I wouldn't have believed it.
Right.
That's unbelievable. That's the second one. And I guess because when she gets on the guy's shoulders, she's then, putting her arms on his head, and that's a perfect, like the monkey goes, oh, it's like you're on a rock. We're ready to go.
I just like the one who I imagine is the female of the situation. She's holding on to his nostrils as she's on his head.
Oh, geez. She's like, oh, yeah, baby.
Yeah, do you bat the monkeys off your head? I wouldn't.
Oh, I do.
You would?
Oh, I'm done with that. You're not having sex in my head.
Bro. How would you feel if someone just walked into your house and batted you off of something?
Well, again, my head's not their house, is it?
That's true, but maybe they're married. This is his only opportunity that he gets.
Oh, so
you know how that is.
I'm supposed to be a wingman, basically, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, be a good bro.
BJ and Migs, mornings on The Rock, 99.9 KISW.
99.9 KISW, The Rock of Seattle. Got a new study to ask people about their biggest regrets. I guess this one sounds very new agey, but I don't know. But the biggest answer people have, their biggest regret is they're not living up to their ideal selves. Does anybody have an idea what their ideal self is? That sounds very new agey. Sounds very hippy dippy.
Ideal self. I'm not exactly sure.
They say they define ideal selves as you hit your goals, you achieve your dreams, and if you haven't hit your goals and achieve your dreams, then you're not living up to your ideal self. That's an interesting thing.
Failing to live up to the people that we wish we were. My problem is, though, if I accomplish something that I want to accomplish, I need to be better about just taking a moment and enjoying that moment. A lot of times I'm just like so thought about the next thing that I don't appreciate what I just had happen to me.
Yeah, and when you appreciate it, do you have a little gratefulness when you do? I mean, are you really like grateful for this cool thing that happened to you?
It's super fast.
Yeah, Brene Brown talks about somebody. She's in her latest book. She says people have a foreboding joy, which means something good happens in your life, and you're in the middle of it, and immediately you think, "What could go wrong?" And she says if you practice being grateful in those moments, it sort of kicks out that foreboding joy and really makes the moment more joyous.
I get that, because the time I remember, and it was one of those moments where I was like, I can't believe this is happening, was when I got to do the stage introduction for Metallica at CenturyLink Field. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to walk out in front of like 60,000, 50,000 people.
That's nuts.
And usually when I do those, I have this weird argument in my head, like, don't pass out. Well, if you pass out, that'd be a pretty awesome moment. Like, these are things that go on. Like, it even happened at the Doug Benson podcast, where I'm like, what if I just pass out right now?
Oh, that would have been so good.
Would Doug find that entertaining, or would that be like a weird buzzkill for this podcast? Like, I think these things. But that was the only time I've ever told myself, as I'm walking out there and grabbing the microphone, look out, look at as much people as you can look out in front of a sea of 50,000 and enjoy that damn moment. Don't just look over people. Don't black out like you usually do. Not black out like I'm blacked out, but I usually will just kind of, just because of my fear and my nerves, just ignore that there's actually people there for those stage introductions and just kind of like look past them. This one was the only time where I actually did it, and it was one of the most incredible experiences of my life because I soaked in that moment.
Yeah. And that's the thing, man. You know, a lot of folks, they try to record those kind of moments, you know. Sometimes people do that with the phones. And I think you miss the absorbing of a moment when you're trying to capture it on a phone. Yeah. You know, and I think there's something to be said about that. Just absorbing the moment. Be there. You know, your brain will always remember what it was like. The stupid picture. I mean, really.
Well, I was lucky enough that there are a few people with cell phones that took pictures of that.
That's even better.
Cool. But
or hire a guy to take pictures for you while you absorb the moment.
Retrospect, maybe it would have been a good idea. But, you know, still, that was one of those moments where I even thought to myself, I will regret this if I do not enjoy this moment. It was like a minute, if that, like 40 seconds, really quick, in and out kind of a thing. But I made that, for me, I slowed everything down in my own head so that 40 seconds felt like an eternity. And it was so cool.
So, you know, as far as regrets go, man, usually we have regrets because we're just not doing what we want to do, and there are reasons for that. And it's amazing what stops people from going for it. And I'm wondering if that's kind of us, too. Do we I suppose if you ask all of us, okay, maybe we all think we could be doing better. I'm kind of, you know, now that I'm at my age, I'm stopping thinking about what I could have done better, and I really want to have more of those moments like you talked about, Steve. I want to appreciate where I am as opposed to I need to get somewhere else.
Right. What do they say? It's not the destination, but it's the journey. And as cheesy as that is, I do believe that.
So a lot of folks, the reason...
Like the wrestling thing, that moment of actually having the match, it went by so fast, even though it was like, you know, I was in there for like 30 minutes, part of this whole thing, and that was incredible. But honestly, the whole months of learning and making new friends and creating a bond with some people and putting my trust in other people and then putting in trust into me because, you know, we're putting our well-being in each other's hands. The journey was the best part.
Dude, it's the journey.
Yeah, man. Now, Danny, give me that bong.
Yeah.
Here you go. Here you go. Here it comes.
Here's
going to throw it at you. Open up.
There it is. Well, you know, it's funny. Just some people do, you know, when you have a conversation with people about like, okay, you know, to get to where you want to get to, that's people don't want to talk about that. They just want to be there. That's when you know you really don't want something enough, because the journey is what people who are really hungry, you know, they really want it because they want to talk about the journey, not the destination. And then other people go, you know what I really like to do? I'd like to do blank. I go, all right, well, here's what's up, you know, and they'll go, oh, yeah, that sounds... No, and they don't want to do that. They don't want to talk about the journey, but the journey is the only way you get there.
One of my favorite... When you said it, just triggered something like... I like listening from time to time to Mark Maron's podcast. I don't listen to all the episodes. I pick up by the guest that he has on. But my favorite episode he ever had A lot of people would say it's his episode that he did with the president at the time.
That's
with
considered
Barack
one of his
Obama.
best by a lot of people. Yeah,
I thought the podcast he did after that, talking about the journey that it took to get the president on his podcast, was way more interesting, and that to me was a lot of fun to listen to, because you listen to the experience of having snipers on top of his house and the neighborhood having to be shut down, and the process that his producer had to go through to get this to happen, and having the president come by his house and do an interview in his garage. Like, I thought that was the journey.
And I didn't hear all of that podcast. I'm hoping he had an absorption moment, because knowing Mark Maron's past, and of course anybody that listens to his podcast, you know all about his past, because that's why his podcast is so successful. He just puts it all out there. But that guy, his life was in ruins. Yeah. And to think that he would go on to be somebody that the president would think, I need to do an interview with this guy
and come to your house.
Yeah. I mean, I need to be on Mark Maron's show. That is such an amazing accomplishment for him. And he was in our studio before he had the podcast, before he was anything.
When he was going to do a show at Giggles.
Yeah. And his
Rest
life.
in peace, Giggles.
Yeah. His life was miserable. And we both were like having a misery party together, not realizing the entire room thought we were both idiots. And what he's accomplished, I hope he got to absorb it in that moment. I feel like when I listen to him, he really does. I mean, he's really been amazing what he's done in his life.
Do you guys have an example of like a time that the journey was not better than the destination, but the journey was a pretty damn awesome part of the destination?
Well, I would have to say our nomination to the Hall of Fame of radio, that was the journey to get there, because that lets you reflect.
Yeah.
So I've reflected on, my God, just when even when I first started in Seattle. When I first started in Seattle, I was probably the most hated guy in our company in Seattle.
Right.
And
now you're number 3.
Yeah, now I'm number 3. Yeah. I know. I really need to do a better job. But I was told. I mean, I was told by insiders in the company. They're like, God, they hate you so much. And but there was one guy that worked for the company that said, I used to work with you before. I think you're a good guy, so I want you to come work with me. But he said, dude, we got to jump through some hoops because everybody hates you. And that's where I was. I was the most hated guy in the company.
My instructor at radio school actively tried to persuade me not to be with BJ because of the stuff that he had heard, and he had nothing to do with the company at all. He was just like, you don't want to work with this guy. He ruffles feathers, and it might not be the way you want to go.
And Rev's biggest regret was not listening to him.
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. So,
that's so funny.
Yeah, well, and then everything that I had to, everything I had to go do to get my act together, to realize I was out of my mind.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, it was a roller coaster.
Try to write a book about it.
Yeah, I mean, it was that kind of thing.
But to be like a free one on digital. But,
well, of course,
I
would
write a book.
Yeah, of course, I could write a book about it. Yeah, so I would, and then all of a sudden, I mean, here years later, I'm getting nominated for the Hall of Fame. Like, somebody in our business, because everybody knew me. Mm-hmm. They knew everybody knew I was an idiot.
Yeah.
I'm like, who would nominate me for the Hall of Fame? And I thought, well, you know what? It's because I put Steve's name on the show. I think it's the only way I would get nominated, because it was BJ and Miggs. Like, if there was no Miggs, I don't think I'd get the nomination.
Whatever.
But that was like, to me, what a journey to go, because I worked hard to sort of like try to be a good employee and try to be a good husband and try to be a good guy and try to figure out what the hell was going on in my head, because my head was not being my buddy. Mm-hmm. It really was. So that's been a hell of a journey.
What about you, Vicky?
I think it kind of has to do with the job too, because I just kind of assumed I'd have kids and be married and just lead the quote unquote normal life. And then once I was in college, I realized I hated it. I couldn't do it, and I found this, and I honestly never expected my life to go this way. And just between like the blood, sweat, and tears in the last 9 years have been very much worth it because of all the cool things I've gotten to experience. And to hang out with you guys, I guess. You guys are okay sometimes.
I definitely am worth it. That's all I know.
I'm just trying to find a tactful way to do a joke involving the blood part of the blood, sweat, and tears, but I decided to back out.
I mean,
look at you.
Well, look at you. Hall of Fame nominated.
Oh, there's the journey there.
Yeah,
That's
right.
Restraint.
Yes.
That's what the Hall of Fame nomination will do for you. It'll give Steve a little restraint. Yeah, Rev.
Oh, there you go. There it is.
Yeah, that's really good. Thanks, pal.
I don't know what the hell blood is involved in this show.
I've gotten hurt many a time.
Have you bled for us?
Yes.
Nice.
I don't even want to go there.
Have you bled for us,
I've
BJ?
had stress nosebleeds, buddy.
Really?
Yeah, I get them sometimes.
Yeah, I guess I've had a nosebleed too. So yeah, I guess there is blood, sweat, and tears on this show.
Oh, you guys really, wow, you guys are Johnny Knoxville in this whole thing.
And
Good
remember
job.
the time I was running up the hill in the snow and I fell? Yeah, blood.
That's
there
right.
You go.
You did scrape your knee.
So, suck it.
Yeah,
One person says
you're like a
truthfully-
Johnny Knoxville. You are.
Somebody says, truthfully, it's been super cool to watch Vicky grow up on the show.
I mean, that is true because Vicky was 19.
Yeah.
She couldn't even go to our events because she was under 21. And it is funny to think you really have pretty much grown up on the show.
And then President Vicky's initiation was awesome, too. The listeners were all there throughout all that, the whole fast food endeavor where she got lost for an hour and something minutes.
Yeah.
And then I had to do it again.
Yeah.
And then again.
Yeah.
One person says the journey of getting clean and sober now for 8 years was as cool or cooler than the destination.
Dude, yeah, again,
I bet.
that's a lot of soul searching that usually has you take a look at yourself. I mean, because you can't stay sober if you're not doing a lot of self-inquiry and really, really like questioning your thoughts. It just isn't going to happen.
Today's podcast was brought to you by Travis Gagne, bankruptcy attorney. Here's another question from a listener. If I can't afford to pay my bills, how am I going to afford attorneys and bankruptcy fees?
You know, one of the things people ask me all the time as a bankruptcy lawyer is that how am I going to pay all these fees and costs because I'm here because I can't afford to pay my bills. And of course we understand that. I mean, being in the bankruptcy field. But you know, one of the things to remember is that if you decide, once you make the decision to file bankruptcy, you can stop paying on all of the creditors that are going to be included in the bankruptcy, and those are the funds that you can use that you have been paying your creditors to pay your attorney fees and court costs to get your case filed. And once your case is filed, you're not going to have most of those payments anymore.
Thanks, Travis. If you have more questions about bankruptcy, you can reach out to Travis anytime at choosetherightchapter.com. That's choosetherightchapter.com. Thanks for listening.